and we have several other members out there on the line. We're waiting for a few other attendees to join us. I hope it's dry and beautiful where all the rest of you are, because it's very rainy here in Washington, D.C., and we had to cancel our farmers market today, so it's a little bit upsetting. Let me tell you what we're going to talk about today. Jen O'Brien, our Executive Director, will be making a presentation, and you're starting to see part of that up on the screen today. The agenda will have our welcome and then brief overview of the farmers market trends, some highlights of FMC for the past year, some priorities for moving forward, and then our board elections. Liz Kaminsky is on the line. Liz is our membership coordinator, and you probably all have dealt with her in some way or other, and we're glad to have her joining us from Pennsylvania. Sarah Padilla will also be joining us on the line. She is FMC's new project director located in Portland, Oregon. She'll be working on our Farmers Market Coalition Farmers Market Metrics project, which we hope you'll all hear about and be involved in. On the line also today are FMC's Executive Committee. These are my officers, and I'm very proud to have them be with us and part of the call. Copper Alvarez from Baton Rouge, Louisiana will be on the line. She is our Vice President. Sharon Yago, our treasurer, is joining us from Florida. Sharon, I hope you're warm and dry. And Monica Roth, our secretary, will be joining us from New York State. They will all be on the line, and they'll be adding their comments throughout the presentation and be available for your questions. Other board members may also be joining us, and I hope they chime in when they do. So now what I'd like to do is pass off the meeting and all the presentation materials to Jen O'Brien, our Executive Director. Jen, it's yours.
Thanks, Bernie, and thank you everyone for joining us today. Real quickly, I just wanted to highlight the control panel you have on the right side of your screen from GoToWebinar. If at any time during the presentation you want to type in the chat box there or the question box, Liz is going to be paying attention to the questions that are coming in so that we can make sure they get answered. You can also raise your hand. You'll see a little hand icon. If you would prefer to comment or question, that way we can unmute you, and that will allow you to speak with us. Same goes for all the board members who are on the call. If you want to chime in at any time, just raise your hand and we can unmute you. So no further ado, we'll go into the brief overview of farmers market trends. Really quickly, we just wanted to present these to the membership. They're the main things that we're seeing happen in the field this year. When we've been meeting with USDA, these issues often come up. So I'm just going to run through them real quickly. The first one is increased access. We're seeing a huge increase in markets that are SNAP authorized, as well as markets that are, or the redemption numbers of SNAP. And you can see in this graph that about half of all the farmers markets in the USDA Farmers Market Directory are SNAP authorized, and these, again, are the 2013 numbers, so they're probably very different now. In this next chart, we have SNAP spending at farmers market, which in 2013 was 21.1 million, and the huge increase just from 2009 is really exciting and impressive there. And we know that a big reason that SNAP spending has gone up so much at market is, one, because EBT technology is advancing. There are more options out there. People are more comfortable with the technology. People understand how the system works better. And also, we have new equipment coming in, Mobile Market Plus app and other smartphone applications that are making it easier for everyone to participate. And also, another huge factor in the increase in SNAP spending is the increase in SNAP incentives available. And this is the SNAP Healthy Food Incentives Cluster Evaluation Report that came out earlier this year. It was an evaluation that looked at the Fair Food Network, Wholesome Waves, Market Umbrella, and Roots of Change for large organizations that are offering SNAP incentives, although there are plenty of markets who are running their own SNAP incentive programs and other large organizations doing it as well. But this looked at those 4 organizations, and the 4 main findings of the study were, one, that it proved that regardless of the setting, whether urban, rural, small, or large, that healthy food incentives at farmers markets work. Also that incentives create economic opportunity. Using the economic multiplier model, the study calculated that SNAP incentives in just 3 markets generated upwards of 4.3 million in economic activity and saving or creating up to 47 jobs. So not only are they helping people to get more of the food that they need, they're really influencing the economy of that region. Also, incentive programs are on the rise. In 2012 alone, the 4 organizations that were studied in this report served more than 131,000 SNAP customers and almost 5,000 farmers, with participating families redeeming more than 1.5 million in incentives in addition to their SNAP benefits to buy fresh fruits and vegetables. So it's really having a huge impact. And the report also noted that additional private and public funding is crucial to support any incentive program. And our next trend is hospital and health center partnerships. Farmers markets are cropping up at hospitals large and small all over the country. Kaiser Permanente has been doing this for a long time. They have over 50 farmers markets at their hospitals now. The Veterans Administration has been another key figure in the proliferation of farmers markets at hospitals. They currently have 42 markets at VA hospitals throughout the U.S., which is really exciting, and they're interested in increasing that number as well. There's also an effort to make farmers markets more accessible to underserved populations and to specifically associate them with health care. So in South Carolina, there's an organization called The Right Choice, and their Fresh Start Market is part of a new preventative health care approach that they're providing incentives, and they're hosting a farmers market there. And the goal of situating a market at the health center was to increase the fruit and vegetable consumption and improve the overall diet of the people going into the health center. And they have done studies that have showed that it really has had a big impact. So we're excited to see that people are studying this and that other hospitals are joining on. And that doesn't include the other organizations that are programs happening at hospitals, like the Wholesome Ways Vegetable Prescription Program, which allows doctors to give prescriptions to use at the farmers market. So even though the market isn't at the hospital, it is creating a strong partnership between the hospital and the market. The next trend is state association growth. There are over 25 state networks at varying stages of development, and FMC has them listed on our website if you want to go take a look. We know that more than half of these associations have annual operating budgets of less than $50,000, and about half of them also have no paid staff whatsoever. But those numbers are changing. Just within the past year, we've seen a couple big state associations be able to hire executive directors or any part-time staff, and some that have started hosting events like trainings and conferences. So there's definitely been a lot of growth in the state associations. Defining local has been of interest in a lot of areas across the U.S. The explosion of interest in local foods has created a really important opportunity for small and mid-sized farmers, obviously, but the constraints of that model are becoming clear. We can't rely on the relationship we have with customers. We have to start defining local so that other organizations and supermarkets and anyone else who wants to jump on the local food bandwagon can't just sort of co-opt that term for themselves. That definitely poses a risk for farmers markets if we are unable to concretely define and fulfill the promise that we offer in terms of our food being local, authentic, safe, and sustainable. Consumers will lose trust in their farmers markets. So we've seen a lot of people be paying attention to how they're defining that within their market. And FMC has taken on a project to help facilitate that process as well, which I will tell you about a little bit later. Extended seasons, the adoption of low-cost hoop houses have enabled a lot of small growers to extend their production seasons, which has allowed a lot of farmers markets to remain open in the winter months. And the USDA is particularly excited to see this trend grow because it allows for increased financial stability and also a deeper connection with customers because you don't have to sort of lose them for a couple months every year. And farmers have been really happy with markets staying open as well because it sort of eliminates some of the highs and lows of their financial situation. So we're excited to see that trend continue. And CSA's food hubs and mobile markets are also booming. It's always great to have more opportunities for direct and intermediary sales of locally grown food. Sometimes these are directly involved with the farmers markets in their cities. Sometimes they are not. But we're seeing more and more of these opportunities pop up, and we're seeing more opportunities for partnership with farmers markets. Okay, and on to FMC highlights from this past year. Our financial year goes from June through May, so that's the amount of time we were looking at, and we just decided to pick our sort of biggest 10 highlights to share with you today. And I'll start with number 1, which is increased membership. So thank you, everyone, for continuing to be an FMC member. We have over 800 supporting members right now. And because most of those members are umbrella organizations rather than individual markets, we represent more than 4,600 farmers markets. And we're estimating that means over 40,000 producers nationwide. So that's a little over more than half of the farmers markets listed in the USDA directory. And we have 2,600 subscribers to our newsletter, plenty of followers on Facebook, also about 4,000 followers on Twitter. Our listserv continues to grow. It's actually closer to 1,090 right now. And we have nearly 200,000 web page views, 525 hours of technical assistance, and over 600 information consultations and referrals. And we're including emails and phone calls with questions about market management and anything our members have an issue with. So that's what's included in that 600 plus. Number 2 is the FMPP survey report, which went out last June. And this report was a result of a little over a 1.5-year long study that we worked on with Market Umbrella. And it was it surveyed the grantees, the FMPP grantees from 2006 to 2011. And it's really the only evaluation of the Farmers Market Promotion Program that has ever been done. So we're very proud of this. The actual resulting analysis came out in 2 different reports. There was a full report that included the answers to the surveys and also some analysis, and also a green paper which included some recommendations for improvement of the program and sort of a deeper look into the answers. And also up on the website, we have included case studies, some quotes, some pictures, some stats, so materials that members and anyone else can use when they're talking to their peers about the program and looking into ways it can be used. So we're very excited that this has been a really useful tool, and we recently submitted formal comments to the USDA now that the new Farmers Market Promotion Program was included in the Farm Bill. The comments were supposed to help in the implementation of the program and help it grow. So we were very excited to turn those in, and also that the National Sustainable Agriculture Coalition reinforced many of the comments we made to the USDA. And we'll know within the next coming weeks how that program will eventually develop. Number 3 is Discover You Can, Learn, Make, Share, which is our partnership with Jardin Home Brands, the makers of ball jars, who sponsored 30 FMC member markets by giving them supplies and materials and coupons so that they could host their own canning workshops in their markets. It also provides a stipend to help pay for staff and any other equipment they may need. And in the summer of 2013, we're excited to say that the program educated more than 43,000 people. And the other exciting thing is that this program also serves as a platform that markets could jump off that often create a year-long education program, or they used what was given to them in the Discover You Can program and really expanded upon it and created amazing, amazing programs that we were excited to see pictures and hear stories from. And this year, we're very excited that there's actually going to be 50 markets participating. So can't wait to see what those markets come up with this year. Number 4 is National Farmers Market Week. National Farmers Market Week is the first full week of August every year, as I'm sure you've heard us say over and over again. Every year we try to give tools to markets to help them celebrate this week. Last year we continued our Markets Are Up campaign. We released these Markets Are Up talking points, which you can see here on 4 different main impacts that farmers markets have on their community. You can see there the stimulate local economies and preserving America's rural livelihoods. We tried to collect the data that come out within the year and also add it to any older data that is still relevant, and also included some quotes in there so that markets could have some data and some materials to work with when they were creating their own promotional materials. We also had an invitation to legislators, a template to invite them to come to your market, a press release to talk about any events you and your market were having in relation to National Farmers Market Week, and also the Why Farmers Market infographic, which was also split into social media badges for people to share on the internet and on Twitter and everything. This year was exciting because we had a press conference with the USDA AMS Administrator, Ann Alonzo. She was very excited. It was her first year and was excited to come out to a DC market and talk with everyone about the impact that markets are having all over the country. So we worked with the community marketplace up in DC, and they were wonderful hosts, and hopefully we'll see them again this year. This is the Why Farmers Market infographic. It was shared over 40,000 times during National Farmers Market Week, so we were really excited about that. And we've also seen it being used around the web and in articles and such since National Farmers Market Week. So it's a very successful endeavor for us. Number 5 is our new website, which I hope everyone has had a chance to click around on. We have been working for over a year to reorganize and update all the information on the old website and bring it over to this new organization structure. You can see it's education, networking, programs, advocacy, and news. And it's still at farmersmarketcoalition.org. And we've gotten a great response from people who say that it's much easier to find information on, which is exciting. And we're very, very excited about 2 particular sections. The Market Manager Frequently Asked Questions, which was done a couple years ago as a project with the Wallace Center. And because of this new website, we had to go through and basically update all the information, make sure it was still relevant, make sure the links still worked, and add any sort of new market fundamentals that we wanted to. So it was a really great exercise, and this resource is just chock full of information. So I encourage you to go click around on that page. And also the Farmers Market Advocate Toolkit. FMC spent the last 2 years that the Farm Bill was sort of in production really focusing on policy priorities. So we have tons and tons of great information on the programs you see listed there. Particularly the WIC fruit and vegetable vouchers is a lot of new information, and the Food Safety Modernization Act includes a lot of new information as well, because those were active over the past year. So definitely encourage you to check that out. And also the lobbying guide is a little bit easier to access here for the advocacy toolkit, which includes the guide to lobbying, guide to bonding with your legislator, the summary of the Farm Bill process, and an op-ed template. Also on our website, you'll see the resource library, which is a little bit easier to use now. So I really encourage anyone who's done any research or has research from your state or anything at all that you think would be useful for other markets to see, please feel free to click on the resource library and submit it for us. Number 6 is the Farm Bill. As I mentioned before, it's been years that we've been waiting for this Farm Bill to happen. But waiting is the wrong word, because we're very excited that our members were actively engaged in that process. We were focused on the Farmers Market Promotion Program, as well as a couple other programs that will directly impact farmers markets, such as the Food Insecurity Nutrition Incentive Grants, which is just a long way of saying incentive program, the Community Food Projects, Specialty Crop Block Grants, and Specialty Crop Research Initiative. All of these are great resources for farmers markets as you're trying to grow and reach more customers. So we are excited that in February the Agricultural Act of 2014, as it was officially called, was finally passed. And the Farmers Market Promotion Program was expanded into the Farmers Market and Local Food Promotion Program and given $30 million a year for 5 years, which was a huge, huge increase, very exciting. And also, one thing we were worried about was administrative spending for the program, because the more administrative spending that is available, the more services the USDA can provide markets. And that was capped at 4%, so a little less than we wanted, but still provides a good base for the USDA to work with. So, and you can see the other amounts there for the incentive program, community food projects. And I want to say a huge thank you to our members who did so much work talking with your farmers, with your state representatives, with anyone who would listen about why farmers markets are important and why Congress needed to be supporting them in the Farm Bill. So thank you, thank you, thank you. All of your work has really paid off, and we're really excited to move forward. Another advocacy issue FMC took on last year was the Food Safety Modernization Act. And the Food Safety Modernization Act, which we call FSMA, was an act that was signed into law in January of 2011, and it was the first major food safety reform since 1938. So it was a huge deal, and the goal was just to increase food safety for everyone and focus it on prevention rather than emergency response. But that's a huge task, so it was really hard for the FDA to get a handle on what should be done. And when the rules were released, it was 800 pages of rules that were written, so it was very difficult to understand what the rules were actually saying. But we knew that we needed to pay attention to this because it was going to affect all producers and all farmers markets as well, because they were regulating farms and facilities, which farmers markets could be included as a facility. So we worked with the Harvard Law Center and the National Sustainable Agriculture Coalition to really figure out what the rules were saying and provide some resources on the FMC website so that we could simplify it and make it quick and easy for other people to understand, as quick and easy as it could be. It was definitely a lot of work. And thankfully, the National Sustainable Agriculture Coalition really took a lead on this effort, and we were able to link you to a lot of their materials. And the FMC community really responded and got a lot of feedback. And so at the beginning of this year, Michael Taylor with the FDA announced that because of the huge response they got from producers around the U.S., there would be rewriting a large portion of the rules. So big success for FMC members and for all farmers and producers out there. And hopefully we'll see a next round of rules soon, and hopefully they will be a little clearer and a little more conducive to the way that our producers work. Just to reiterate what a big deal this was, the USDA's own data indicated that farms with less than 250,000 in annual sales would be spending 60% of their profits just to comply with the new rules. So the USDA knew that they were going to put people out of business, which is why they're going back and rewriting these rules. So once again, thank you to the FMC membership for responding to these calls to action, for talking to everyone, for getting your producers to understand the gravity of the FSMA rules. I know it wasn't a fun topic to take on, but it was really, really important. So thank you again for your hard work and your willingness to participate. And number 8 is our Farmers Market Metrics project, which got started this year. I'm very excited that today we can officially announce that we have received 3 years of funding for this program as partners with the University of Wisconsin through the AFRI program, the USDA's Agriculture Food Research Initiative. So very excited to announce that. Sarah Padilla is our project manager for that project. Darlene Woolnick is the research leader, and we've been getting it going for the last couple months. You may have heard from them if if you are one of the markets involved. But there are two parts of the Market Metrics project. There's that long-term sort of academic look at which indicators and which data is most important to collect and what that data is really telling markets. And then there's also the side where we're going to create an online tool that markets can use themselves to help organize their data collection efforts, and also spit out some really easy and good-looking infographics and short reports that you can use in promoting your market. So it's going to help both the overall farmers market movement in terms of making our research and our data better, and also help you individually at your market to communicate the impacts of your market to your market community. The in-person board meeting in DC was in February, which is always very exciting for us being a remote organization. The board members are spread out all across the country. So once a year we get them all together in the same room, and it is just so exciting to hear the conversations that happen. If Sharon is able to, I'm going to unmute her so she can tell you a little bit about what was done this year. Liz, can we unmute Sharon?
Yes. Sharon, you do need to punch in your audio pin, which is being sent to you. Should pop up on your screen.
Okay, well, while Sharon's doing that, I can tell you a little bit about it. The board came into DC last year at the FMC board meeting. We spent a lot of time on the Hill, educating legislators about farmers markets, talking to the new legislators, making sure that they knew the importance that markets have in their communities. And this year, since the Farm Bill had just passed when we got to DC, the focus was more on implementation of those programs. So we were able to go and have meetings at the USDA with both the Agricultural Marketing Service and the Food and Nutrition Service. The Food and Nutrition Service is called SNS, and they run the SNAP programs. And AMS, the Agricultural Marketing Service, runs the Farmers Market Promotion Program as well as a lot of other programs. So it was wonderful to interact directly with the USDA employees and make sure that they knew what FMC was working on, so that we can work collaboratively on our efforts. And I think Sharon is unmuted now. If you want
yes,
to
I am,
in.
Jen.
Hello.
Hi, this is Sharon Yeager from Florida, North Florida, near Gainesville. It was an amazing time. We always really get a lot out of going to D.C. and usually in the January or February and getting together from all across the country. And we were truly from New York to Florida, California, and all in between. It was amazing, and I think what you're seeing today and the issues that we're discussing really have a lot to do with what we were doing in D.C. back in the winter, and just talking about what are the issues, coming together with what are the problems, what are the concerns, what is everybody thinking, what does the USDA need, what do we need. It's been an amazing journey, and I encourage you to keep up with us and stay involved and maybe join some of our advisory boards if you're interested in being involved in any of these issues in a more direct way.
Thanks, Sharon. And another thing the board did, other than talk about these new programs, was try to really set priorities for what FMC is going to take on in the next year. As you all know, there are infinite opportunities and ways that farmers markets can get more engaged in their communities and get more help, and FMC wants to encourage all those opportunities, so it's really important for the board to streamline and focus our efforts. So that you can see Fred doing here in this picture with the Post-its, and also Bernie in this other picture showing us these amazing marketing tools that Fresh Farm Markets has in DC that they had a graphic designer work on for them at all of their markets throughout the region. So there was a lot of information sharing and priority setting, and the board actually decided that they needed to make this in-person meeting happen more than once a year because it is so productive. So hopefully we'll make that happen soon. And the Real Deal project. This is a project that just recently got started that Stacy Miller is taking on in partnership with PASA and the Food Routes Network, the group that does the Buy Fresh, Buy Local guides. Excuse me. So it started off with a focus group at the annual PASA meeting, and PASA is the Pennsylvania Association of Sustainable Agriculture. Always swap the A's. So they have their annual meeting. They got together more than 70 interested growers, market managers, and retailers to discuss what local means to them and to get input on ways to prevent consumer confusion in the marketplace. So that was a hugely successful kickoff at the Farming for Future conference, and now they're tasked with doing a survey across the country to find out how people are defining local at their markets, to see if there's a way we can sort of create a cohesive idea of what local means. So Stacy asked me to tell you that a survey is coming your way soon and to encourage you to participate. This could be a real help for all farmers markets in the future. So within the next couple of weeks, you'll get an email from Stacy with a survey about the Real Deal project. And I'm going to hand it back to Sharon again to talk a little bit about FMC's financials. Sharon, are you still there?
Yes, I am. Here I am. What we wanted to give you is a picture of where our resources are coming from. And what I like about it is that it's somewhat balanced. I mean, we've, for a number of years we've learned to balance things. And what we're looking now to do, of course, is to increase those numbers as we provide more services and help kind of move mountains around the country, so to speak. So we give you an idea with what's really also very positive is the diversity of the funding sources. I think that speaks well to our management and the way that we're pulling together and being able to ride rough weather as it happens. So, and we look forward to any questions you might have at some point on that as well.
Thanks, Sharon. Again, I just wanted to point out the we are nearly 50% or over 50% grant funded. And as I mentioned before, we have some new grant funding that has come in to play this year, but we also set as a goal at the board meeting to increase our sponsorships, particularly corporate sponsorships, increase the services and TA we're offering, and I think we're also going to add some FMC merchandise to the mix that hasn't been a real priority. We basically have the glossaries and stickers online, but we're going to beef up our store a little and try to provide some useful tools. And you can also see our list of supporters who've given more than $750, just to give you an idea of who we're working with. So these are the other priorities that the board set at the meeting in February. The first one was definitely offering more services and tools to members. We, if you participated in the survey we gave out a couple months ago to members to ask about, what your relationship with FMC was, what you found most useful, what you wish there were more of, we definitely heard from everyone that more services and tools were wanted and that these services and tools we were providing were being used. So that was great to hear, and we're definitely going to work on that. The second one is hosting a farmers market stakeholder or state leadership conference. This happened in 2007, a USDA-led farmers market stakeholder conference, and FMC was actually our sort of goals and priorities were set during that meeting, and we really feel that it's time to replicate that situation. And also, since the very small meeting of the board is so productive, just having all of those farmers market leaders from all over the country in one room, we really think it needs to happen on a larger scale. The third is assisting with a smooth implementation of the new farmers market promotion program. As I mentioned, the board has been working with the USDA. We have submitted formal comments in order to make sure that the money is wisely spent and that markets are using it in a way that is most efficient and effective. Also, completing the farmers market metrics tool is a priority. That's in line with the offering services and tools to members. Data collection and communication is a huge issue with most of our members. Securing more corporate sponsorships, I mentioned that. Initiating the advisory committee. We had hoped to start an advisory committee last year, but it hasn't really gelled. We've been trying to figure out what the best goals for an advisory committee would be. And this year I think we have a clearer picture, and we're going to get that going. Strengthening our relationship with state associations. We love, love, love our state association members and are so excited to see the progress that they're making in their states. And we want to make sure that they are engaged actively in FCC's priority setting so that we are properly representing the needs of the state associations. So we're going to work on increasing opportunities for state associations to interact with FMC. Mm-hmm. And improving the WIC cash value voucher access across the country. Only 23% of states, I think it is, currently allow farmers markets to redeem WIC CVVs. And the states that have been able to do it and have put a lot of effort into programming around CVVs have seen a lot of progress and have seen a lot of redemptions with that. So we want to make sure all states have that opportunity. It is tricky. It requires a lot of administrative time currently, so we're going to see what we can do to make that a more streamlined process for the state. And as our first step in offering more services and tools for members, we are announcing our Meet Me at the Market campaign today. This will replace our Markets Are Up campaign from last year with the National Farmers Market Week. Rather than having sort of 1 month of tools and templates, we are expanding it to include the whole summer. So for the months of June, July, and August, we are going to focus on 3 different audiences. June will be focused on local chefs, bringing in your local chefs to the market, forming relationships with them. July will be focused on kids. We're going to be releasing the POP program that we've been talking about for months and months and probably years now, that many of our, or a couple of our member markets have done very successfully. And so that will allow you to have a 4-week kids program. August dedicated to public officials and lawmakers like we have in years past, and we'll be providing templates and promotional materials and as for all 3 of these months. And then for June, we're also excited to say that we're going to have FMC presence at the USDA Farmers Market opening on June 6th. We'll be there with them for that. They'll have a little chef demonstration. And also that month, we are partnering with some chefs around the country to offer market menus, which is a 3-course little menu that each course, the main ingredient will be from their local farmers market. So we're really excited to get this process moving. Within the next couple of weeks, you'll see announcements and information and tools for you up on the website. So keep an eye out for that. And our very important board election is happening right now. Midnight is the deadline to vote. Liz, I think, is going to put the link in the chat box to both the board bios as well as the ballot. So they're 2 separate documents. But you can see the ballot here with Copper, Kim, Jeff, Bernie, Joan, Dion, and Ruth. You can vote for 5 board members. And I really hope you participate. We love to have a lot of representation in the election. So that's it for me. I think we have a couple questions coming in. If there's anything anyone on the board wants to add, feel free to raise your hand. Liz, can you take a stab at the questions? I can't seem to open them.
Okay. Hi. We do have a few questions.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So back at the beginning, when you were talking about the trends at farmers markets, were those just nationwide trends, or were those programs that FMC was participating in? And specifically, did FMC have any input in the South Carolina initiative? And that question is from Fred.
Oh, no, we did not have specific involvement with the South Carolina initiative, but we have been collecting stories from hospitals and health centers interacting with farmers markets. because we saw it emerging as a trend. So we're trying to keep track of what's going on out there. We are going to have an article featuring some of those programs in the next newsletter, which should come out at the end of May. It's going to highlight some of those hospitals. And overall, the trends are basically just things that we've been hearing around the country from members. There isn't a real scientific way that we chose them, just sort of things that have perked people's interest and that we've definitely seen more of this year.
Awesome. And then the next question is from Eileen Nichols, and it is, what's the chance of getting National Farmers Market Week moved up earlier in the summer? The concern being that in a lot of areas in the United States, the produce is done by August because it's so hot.
Yeah. I have no idea what the chances are, but we can definitely bring it up, especially when we're up there this year. I wasn't involved in the effort to make National Farmers Market Week happen, although I know some FMC members were, so I can look into why that date was chosen, and because I definitely understand that that's not peak season for most people. But yeah, I'll ask around. Good question.
Okay, and then Trudy Tolliver asks, when you can you please describe the Aetna Foundation funding? How did it come to be so much larger than the rest, and what fulfillment does it require?
The Aetna Foundation funding was for the FMPP survey report. So it was for a specific project. So we received a grant to do that specific project. And that was over, I think, 2 years, but that $45,000 was what was received in this financial year. So it was actually it was more funding than what is represented there. But we are finished with that grant. So unless we approach Aetna Foundation with more opportunities that they might be interested in, that's the end of our funding with the Aetna Foundation.
Great. We just had a question come in about the POP program, and that is the name of the children's program, is Power of Produce. Yes. And Salamina asks where people can find more information. So I am going to just paste a link into the questions box and send it out to everybody to that page on our website, but you can talk more about what's going to be coming out.
Sure. If you search for Power Produce or POP on our website, you will find old articles about the Oregon City program as well as the Charlottesville program. Each of those markets ran a 4 to 6 week long children's program called Power Produce. In Charlottesville, they called it Pop Club more often than not, and it involved bringing kids into the market, having an activity or event for them to participate in, whether it's cooking something or learning a gardening lesson or doing some sort of art with the food to get them engaged with the food that's available at the market. And it also involved a 2-bite club, which if they tried 2 bites of the food that was offered that week, they would get a little badge, and they also get $2 to spend at the market on whatever they want. So it was really a program designed to get them engaged in the whole market shopping experience while also exposing them to new foods, preferably produce that they may not have tried or thought they liked. And it was all based on a study that said, was it 11 or 15, Liz, that the amount of times that kids have to taste something before they really decide they like it. So the idea was to get them tasting a lot of food.
I don't know. I think it was 13 or 14.
Was it 13? Yeah. Way more than I would have thought. So that program, like I said, has been out there. It was sort of developed at Oregon City, and other markets have started to use that model. And we are going to offer a POP Club program that's based on their programs. We have a graphic designer coming up with some cool graphics that the kids will be into. and putting together some educational materials and a little curriculum and a budget and some promotional materials that markets can use to have their own POP program. And the idea is that we would supply the sort of the template, and that the markets would have to find their own funding and their own, customize it for your own region. But hopefully we will have some sponsorships available in this first year that will give markets some funds to get their program going. But nothing, that's not on the website yet. We're working on it right now as fast as we can, and you will definitely see a bunch of emails from us when it's available.
Okay. Kathleen Glon asks about whether or not there's an FMC media kit for members. And she's specifically wondering about a high-resolution FMC member logo and some kind of a standard narrative to use in conjunction with websites and printed matter. Which is a very good idea. I know that I always send out an FMC member logo or the member badge whenever somebody joins, but I don't think it's high resolution. And
I don't know that we have it available on the website. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have things like that scattered about. Like in Markets Are Up, there's press releases and talking points and that sort of thing. And in our About section, there's the FMC guiding principles and that type of thing. But we don't have a very succinct, easy press kit that has it all in one place. So that is a wonderful idea, and we can definitely get that in the works.
Great. Do we have any more questions? Kimberly Richardson asks, if you're a member of FMC through a state organization, how do you receive FMC membership benefits?
That depends. Well, Liz, do you want to take this one?
Sure.
Okay.
It depends on the state. We do have a program that we've been calling the Joint Membership Program, and each state association is able to join and have all of their members join, but it's through a separate program. It's not just an automatic thing that happens when a state association joins. So right now we just have 3 states, actually 5 states, 3 states that are participating and 2 more that are about to get started. So one thing would be to contact your state association and tell them that you would like to be a member of FMC through them, and then hopefully they will be interested in joining the joint membership program. And basically that program allows the individual farmers markets to get a 50% discount on their membership rates. And but otherwise, state associations that might be members of FMC are just members independent of their own members' statuses. Sorry, I know that sounds way more confusing than it is.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we're hoping to remedy this year in terms of making our relationship with state associations very clear and encouraging more state associations to offer that joint membership opportunity to their members, because it is a huge savings, and it also allows FMC to do a better job. The more representation that we have out there in the country, the more that the USDA and everyone else will pay attention to what our members are saying. So,
So this is a great lead-in question for the next one. What are some of the most promising ways you see state associations being able to collaborate with and or support FMC and vice versa?
This is a very good question. We've been talking a lot about that recently. And a lot of it we think has to do with providing a structure that's more clear. FMC is a grassroots organization, and we work with markets which are typically grassroots, so there's a lot of fluidity there. But as state associations grow and as FMC grows, the need to have a clear definition of roles and sort of maybe even a contract in place so that everyone understands what's expected of everyone else. We think that might be a really useful tool for state associations and FMC, and really scheduling meetings basically throughout the year. Like if you're a state association and you're a joint member of FMC, then you should meet with us and our board once or twice a year to inform us on what's happening in your state so that we can be sure that our policy priorities are aligned with what's happening in your state. And also to check in and make sure that there isn't a way that we could be helping in broader state issues, as we're defining trends and communicating those to the public and to USDA, it would be helpful to make sure that we're having regular communication with the state associations that's sort of documented, that we can have notes from and a timeline and that type of thing to allow us to see more clearly what the trends and the needs of the whole farmers market movement are. So I think that structuring meetings with state associations, we do have a state leader conference call and a state leader listserv. The conference call happens every 6 to 8 weeks. Darlene Womack has been not leading, but organizing it, so finding state leaders and figuring out what issues they're having and what might be good to bring to the group. And then we have different state leaders discuss what's happening in their state, and it's a discussion more than a presentation. So that's really useful, and more opportunities like that, I think, might be great. If you have, I would love to hear from you what your thoughts were about how FMC can improve that relationship. So if you want to tell us now or write me an email, it's just jen@farmersmarketcoalition.org. I would love to hear that.
Great. Thank you. I think that was our last question.
Okay, great. Well then, if you think of questions later, whether about this last conversation or anything from the presentation, feel free to call or email either Liz or I. And we will post this online, and we will post the recording of it online as well. So if you ever want to take a look back, feel free. Thank you again for taking the time to hang out with us today, and hopefully we will talk to you soon.
Bravo, everyone. Really well done. Nice materials.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Bernie and Jen.
So thanks,
Thank
Jen
you.
and Liz.
And Sharon.
Sharon. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Good job. Really terrific.
Good.
Take care. Oh, it's raining so much here. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Bernie. Are we still recording?
Yes, we are.